Hello, this video is going to be about YMAX, stock ticker YMAX, and where it could go into the future. There's a lot of good news out there about YMAX. I've read that they can buy deep in the money calls now and actually acquire the underlying stock. Some people, according to them, that they say that this is positive for the NAV, the net asset value, the number in which we are looking at the screen now. We are using TradingView and we are looking at the weekly chart. TradingView is very fun to use. So what I have on the screen is a regression line. We are back at the middle of the regression line. I have a box representing the July 2024 crash, and if we move that box forward to the February March crash, we can track to see where the price could go into the future that way. So for example, the fourth week was a recovery week, and if we add that to the chart, we see that 1246-ish was the low of this move, and then we're tracking the bottom of the box, so that would be 1441 as a price targets, right? So now that we're nearing 1441, the RSI is reaching near the top of the Bollinger Band. We could probably see some sort of consolidation like that. And yeah, we'll be in the middle of the regression line, so that's, I don't know, that's a kind of an indicator of not picking a direction. For example, over here, we can see that we were just riding the regression line the entire time. So that could be a thing. So what happens if we were to get this movement now? Where's the boxes? So say this move. All right, if we copy that and we move it forward. Let's see. This would be at 1441. Yeah, so there's our 1365. Now that's if stocks consolidate, right? So we're looking at the top of 1441, and we could probably see consolidation down to like 1362. This could be for the next 4 or 5 weeks, right? And I say this because a lot of things are happening. So, but first of all, why did we crash so hard in July 2024 into all the way into August? Well, some would say technicals, but did you know that Kamala Harris announced that she would run for president on July 21st, 2024? So that's a lot of fun news. And another reason why I think stocks are going to consolidate is because quarterly earnings are 90% of the way done. Yes, many stocks in the S&P 500 have already reported their results as of May 14th. So that means the rally could lose a lot of steam. There are no earnings. Everyone's happy, right? Are you happy with the earnings? Except for no one had guidance, right? So if they ate the price because they had no guidance on this earnings, watch out for next earnings. This is gonna be a narrative, because when everything cools down and all the tariff news gets solved and settled, and then they report guidance. I mean, if no guidance trashed the price, guidance should do a lot better, right? It makes sense. It's a good narrative, right? I mean, is no guidance better than bad guidance? Yeah, we'll let the market decide, right? No guidance is better than bad guidance. Anyway, so why do I like to track YMAX? I'm invested in YMAX as of July 2024, June, July. Fancy that, I invested before the crash, right? So anyway, as of today, May 14th, tomorrow's May 15th, they pay the dividend on the 15th tomorrow of 0.1910 per share. I have 1,160 shares. My share average is 17.4341. I will get a dividend of $221.56. Total dividends year to date is 7,000. I have bought 410 shares with these dividends, and that's what I've been doing. I've been purchasing shares with the dividends each week. And my initial investment of about $15,000, we're almost halfway there. If I were to stop investing and just write it out at a average, say, of 0.12 per share, very conservative, I would say these days. But if everything goes bad, I would think there would be a lower payout. But right now, it doesn't look like that in the near future. So it's a very conservative number. July 2026, I will have all my money in total dividends paid to me. As far as actual cash, if we go to the right, current share worth, where's my total unused cash? My total unused cash in my account is now $6,700 ish. To get back to $15,000 just sitting in my account, we would have to fast forward to October 2027. Now this is not doing any reinvesting, no return of capital to lower my dividend or my cost per share average, and this is rocking a 0.12 per share, and I've lowered the price of YMAX to $1.75. Very unrealistic, right? And still, if I sold everything, my profit net gain would be $3,162 after taxes. So here's to a great investment that I think is YMAX. And I say stocks are going to consolidate because of the quarterly earnings are over. You know, everyone had their fun. Did you have your fun? Yay, stocks rallied from 485 to 586 now, 587. So I know it looks like a lot on the screen, but it's very simple. It's called box technology. I made it up. But you make a box, and you put that box on top, or you take the weekly chart and you make a box around 2 or 3 red candles, right? Or 1 red candle, like over here. 2 or 3 red candles, and you take that box and you put it on top and below that box, and then you take a horizontal ray and you draw it at the extremes of those box, and that will give you where price could take action at, like extreme, not extreme movements, but extreme support and extreme resistance targets, right? So we can see that we have a cluster of extreme lines right here targeting around 485, and lo and behold, everyone bought right there. And technically I did too, because I buy YMAX every week just with my dividends, right? So anyway, what am I getting at? So if we look at the last couple days action, we can see something very peculiar. We have a zone here. Look at this zone. We have the zone of 570 to 589.05. Now, these lines I did not put in today. I put them in a long time ago. And these lines seem to be very indicative of price action. So we can see how many times we actually, gosh darn, kiss this zone right here. All right. So these lines are of extreme importance, I would say. Oops. Look how much it respects the lines previously, and look how many lines there were. So when we get an area of no target, there were no targets in between 570 and 589. We went there in 2 days, 2 trading days. So what do we see above us? You know, we see more lines, so that's going to be resistance up above. So we can see how much noise has happened in between these lines, right? When we get into these lines, there's going to be a lot of chop. All right, but right now is kind of crazy because they have to either a build levels within this zone that can be respected, or get into these zones up above the right. If we get into the zone up above, I expect extreme resistance at these levels, or extreme support. So 592, 597, 91, 604. So yes, I don't think we'll hit 604 this week. I hope not, because I already sold my call option from April 9th for a slight loss. It was cheap. It was a 600 strike call option for this Friday, and we are almost there. Okay, yeah. If I sold it Tuesday, I would have made $10, but I was worried. Tuesday had great CPI, so I sold it before CPI, of course, not knowing stocks would go up $5 that day. So, I mean, lesson learned. It was cheap, and I didn't lose it all. Didn't lose all my money. So, okay, well. Oh yeah, did we? I remember talking about my indicator and some stocks that are in YMAX, like Microsoft. I was talking about how Microsoft could have a big rally since it was overextended on my Bollinger Band indicator, and if I would have bought on that day, I would be up a lot, right? So now that we're reaching the top of the Bollinger Band, Microsoft, I would say, has to cool off, and I have a conservative number to return to of around 420 from this high. Okay, so I think before any more upward movement, it needs to show support at around 430, of course, and 420 at the conservative low, because this conservative low is like an inflection point in Microsoft. It just chopped around here forever. It's above, it's a below, it's above again, it's below again. So once again, it was below and now we're above again. So I think they're gonna come back to it. I really do. Right? I don't know. AMD. AMD is another stock that I was talking about specifically with Microsoft that might catch a rally bid from being overextended in the Bollinger Band. And again, if I would have bought that day, I would be up. All right. So what do we see now for AMD? Well, it is way outside of the Bollinger Band, so it needs to cool off, hardcore cool off. I say a return back to 110, right? Maybe even this candle low. If it will really cool off if it goes back to 106 and it builds a level on 106, I believe, into the future. What other stocks could we look at that are, well, I thought this was going to be a head and shoulders on Netflix. It invalidated my right shoulder. It became an ogre. An ogre, I guess you would say. So Meta just had a cross up of the RSI. So if it has a cross up of the RSI, what can we see? Like over here, we have a big green candle that was a cross up signal. All right, does that mean you should buy on the cross up? No, you better wait. But you can see it did come back and test the low of this candle and continued to be bought off of it. So you got to watch for those things. And we got a cross up of the stochastic. So all of that is positive. You can see when there's a cross up of the stochastic, it's all positive. So can Meta go higher? Probably. I think stocks are going to take turns again now that earnings are over, right? Stocks are going to take turns doing this huge or some sort of rally or some sort of downside, right? So like Microsoft is way upside on the Bollinger Band. Meta, when this retraces, Meta could gain a little bit more, but something like that. So when AMD retraces, there could be another chip stock that could gain a little bit more. So Tesla, if you use Power E Trade, it says a double bottom on the daily chart target with the 370 360 area. That lines up with the top of the current regression line if you put one on the weekly chart. Fun fact. All right, but the technical analysis on Power E Trade are pretty accurate. I mean, it doesn't mean the price goes to that number that day or that week or that month, but they're technical indicators. And that also had a 15-minute breakout candle to like 325 or something like that, and it went straight to it the next day. So some of these indicators hit. Maybe if you had money to gamble, well, it is gambling unless you're investing, to use some of these indicators in the future. Maybe I'll show it next video. I don't know, we're getting a little long here. We are here with Power E Trade. I'll pull it up real quick and show you. We're on the 15-minute Tesla chart now. I was watching this pop up. Look at this. What is it called? Upside breakout on the 15-minute chart with price lows of 294 and price highs of around 320. So look how perfectly this indicator indicated this. The low, it indicated the low of the box. You could have bought the low of the, put a buy order at the bottom. Maybe it will eventually work out, but it gosh darn went to it the next day, bounced off the top of the price target and fell in hard. And then used EMAs to get back into the price target. That's amazing. But it's still there. It's still up. So can price return to 320 in the future? Is that what the upside 1,141 bars it says? So maybe price could return back down to 320. Now if we go to the daily chart, they have a double bottom target of around 370 in the middle of this upper box with the lower target of what, 292. So even lower than 320. Even lower than 320. So if you use the same 15-minute strategy and bought the bottom of the box, that's a low target price of 291, 292. All right. So on the bottom of your screen is my indicator. I put an RSI up, and it's overbought, like hardcore overbought. So I bet it's gonna cool off at least and maybe retest some of these candle lows. Oh, it even gives you a gap up indicator. So the gap up of 307 to 311. Now that would coincide with the, so here is a moving average at around 323. So as this starts to curl up and go over, that could be, everything's looking for a 320 retest, 320 failure into the gap 308, and then to the bottom of this double bottom target. That would be a great narrative of coming from overbought into ready to be bought again, right? Because Tesla moves a lot. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. But that's what I see going on. Is there one on the weekly chart? We have a lot of bullish candles on the weekly chart. Oh, but this orange candle indicates a conflict It's like a conflict candle. See the go, no go trend? Very bright green is go, blue is go, I guess. And then we can see the orange warning signal, and then followed by the no-go signal. So this week is a warning signal on the weekly. On the monthly, it's a green go signal. On the daily, it's a relatively buy signal, I think. Well, no, these blue candles go down as well, so I'm gonna have to look up what the blue candles mean on go, no go. But this video is getting a little long, don't you think? Sorry about that.